Well, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with Fathers Who Care. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we're thankful to CAN TV and our good friends over here for giving us another opportunity to come to you, the viewing audience, with some additional information, with some additional guests, with some passionate people who love what they do, and we really love what we do. But we've been kind of focusing for the last few weeks on men empowering men. Of course, the show is Fathers Who Care, and I'm your host today, Walter Jones, the Executive Director of Fathers Who Care. But this show, we've been kind of focusing for the last couple of weeks, and we want to acknowledge all the women. Thank you, women, for all that you do, and this is Women History Month. So we want to thank all of you beautiful women for laying the foundation, for making it possible for a lot of us men to do a lot of the work that we do in our different areas of focus, but to be good support systems for us, to be good helpmates for us. We want to thank you, women, for all you do, and we don't take that lightly. We want to continue to ask you to continue to do the good work and continue to lean on us when you need us, because that's what we're here for. We're here to be your guide, your support. But tonight we really want to focus on, I know, believe me, I know there's a lot of things going on in the country. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of misdirection. There's a lot of mistrust. Mm-hmm. This too shall pass. We do know that, everything has a season, and we're going through a season right now. But I just believe that America and that all of us are just resilient people. And I believe if we just continue to focus on the good things that we bring to the table and not lose focus on why we're here, our purpose, our mission, our goals, and why we do what we do. As long as we know it's not about us, but it's about our people and it's about the community that we're serving, I think we're going to be fine. However, do not be disillusioned. There's a lot of things going on that you need to be educated on. And we hopefully will bring some additional guests on to talk about those things. But tonight we want to specifically talk about how men engaging men can help to empower our young people, to help to reduce substance abuse, senseless violence, to develop our young people, to bring parents together, to bring young folks together, to bridge the intergenerational gap between our elders and our young people, but most importantly, to do the work that we have been called to do to help those who are less fortunate. So listen, I'm going to present to some and introduce to some others. One of my dear friends and co-hosts on one of our monthly groups. Yes. We got a few things going on. We're doing some things with Partnering for Success. We're doing some things with the Westside Community Stakeholders. We've been doing some things with the West Garfield Park Youth Council, and we're still looking to rebuild that. It has been a little challenge because our young people have gotten somewhat jaded. We got them a little spoiled, and so we're needing, as always, volunteers to come out and help us to rebuild these young people. We had these young folks moving, but a lot of them have gone to school. A lot of them are working after school, and a lot of them are saying that they want certain incentives. I'm thinking that the empowerment of young people being peer leaders to each other is good incentives, but they're thinking financial. So help us to help them by giving them something to do on some days when they're not in group. But look, if you're interested in volunteering, if you have some young people that between the ages of 13 to 24, we got 2 cohorts of activities that we're facilitating, one from 13 to 17, 18, and 18 to 24. So we got these 2 cohorts of young people that we're facilitating drop-in spaces with, giving them opportunities to be young leaders, giving them opportunities to produce live television shows. We're doing so many different things we're trying to work with them on. But we want to bring that group in because the summer's about to hit us in a little while. And we want to make sure that these young people are in some activities that will save their lives. But anyway, let me do this right quick. Let me introduce my friend Carlos Rodrigues. Carlos is now one of the area directors for West Care, Illinois. We kind of started off back in the day when he came on board. And we were doing work with the group partners with this initiative called Partners for Success. We was back doing that. And Carlos was the program manager. And we had some different things going on the west side and the south side. And we've been doing that. And it has been a good kind of a niche, I think, because it has been giving us a different perspective on bridging the gap, not only just between the South Side and the West Side, but between the African American and the Latinx community. So we've been trying to bring those from different cultures together. We've been trying to bring different geographical areas together, and I believe we're going to stay that course because that's the right thing to do. But anyway, let's just get Carlos into the show. And again, thank you again for tuning in to Fathers Who Care. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for those of you who have been praying for me. I kind of been under the weather. You know, every now and then the body will tell you, the body will tell you to take a break, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, listen to the body, all right? The body will tell you that you need a little break, but thank God for the energy to fight it off and to keep on pressing. But anyway, with that being said, I want to thank you again, all of you, for your prayers and your blessings and your best wishes. But now let's move on. Carlos, I want to inquire. You know, I kind of know some of the things you've been doing. I know you've been in the field of community empowerment, social services, and all that good things for a while. So this is just basically what we do.
Yes.
However, I want to talk to you personally now, not necessarily with your work that you're doing with West Care, because West Care is another agency, just as you would with other agencies, TAS and others like that. But, you know, it takes a certain person to do a certain work. And some folks do it for a season, and some folks do it because it's their calling. Why do you enjoy what you do in the areas of empowering young people, in the areas of working together in the community? Why are you so passionate about this work?
Oh, well, thank you first of all.
And thank you for being our guest, first of all.
I was going to just say thank you for having me on here. Yeah.
Well, you're kind of one of our regulars, all right?
I enjoy it, too.
And I think it's really important that, you know, those relationships that you form in life, particularly when you're trying to do a bigger work.
Yes.
And the bigger work, and you and I have discussed on numerous occasions, is bridging the cultural divides.
Correct.
For people of color. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Please.
No, you're fine. I mean, the first thing is I always like to share gratitude whenever I enter a space. First of all, I'm going to say thank you to the Reverend Jones. The Reverend has opened up so many different new relationships with me, and it actually filled me with hope that there is so many possibilities as opposed to barriers out there. Mm-hmm. You know, people have really embraced me, and I think it's because of the Reverend Jones' love that he has for the community. And so I'll say that. I also want to give
it was intentional.
Yeah, well, thank you.
All right, it was intentional.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's everything from the relationship he has in the community to his family too. I'm gonna give a shout out to his granddaughter if she's watching tonight. I think she's entering her second semester of college.
Yeah, she's doing her thing.
Yeah, Heinisha has interviewed me before here, and I'm really pulling for her. There's great things ahead for her, but again, another young person that fills me with hope about the future. Right? She's curious, right? And so I also want to give a shout out again, as the Reverend started tonight, for women in our lives, particularly my mom. You know, my mom has been gone now. She passed in February 2018, and she was one of those people that not just loved me and set the foundation, but she taught me that other lesson. That other lesson was, if you want to see things change, don't just sit there and gripe about it. You have to do something about it. Mm-hmm. My mom did an interesting thing for me, Reverend. I don't know if I've ever shared this story. There was a moment in New Mexico where I grew up where the immigration service, they call them ICE these days. In those days, we called them La Migra, right?
Okay.
They were snatching babies from their parents and using them as bait to lure the families in and deport them. My mom says, we have to do something about it. Mm-hmm. She was involved in 2 Latino organizations, and they said, we're not touching that. These are people that are illegal, they're undocumented. And my mom, she always came to life as humans are humans, people are people. And she had an expression that my grandfather actually taught her and me. It goes like this. You say in Spanish, it's cuando brilla el sol, brilla para todos. That means when the sun shines, it shines for everybody. Okay? So she says, you're the college student, you're smart, help me do something. And we formed something called the ABC Project. That stands for the Albuquerque Border Cities Project, to defend the rights of undocumented people. In those days, there were no cell phones, but people could call on a payphone an 800 number, and we would go there and help them. That was my mom. So I honor her because she was not just about herself, she was about her community.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's the basis for my passion. If you think about it, is that she always said, if you see an injustice, you got to do something about it. And the Reverend and I share something in common. We see a lot of injustice for young people, right? If there's one thing that the young people always share with me and his daughter is that they feel disrespected. And so how can we as elders, right, as the adults in the community, especially men, embrace them and help them along their path in life, right? So I think that's what gets me, right? Also, being a dad turned me
Well,
becoming a dad really changed my life a lot too.
Well, and that's the name of the show, Fathers Who Care.
That's right.
And one of the the whole foundations of why we do what we do is to encourage and to support men who are fathers.
Yes.
To be the best that they can be. I mean, we know that there are a lot of organizations and other things that may be out here to support families may not be too friendly to fathers or to men. We've fought this fight a long time ago on the shoulders of different people like our congressmen, different governors, different senators, to make Illinois a father-friendly state.
Right.
Even with the creation of the Illinois Responsible Fatherhood legislation. So we've been on the field in different arenas on the judiciary side, on the executive side, the legislative side, to make sure that programs and services are at least open to the involvement of fathers in the lives of their children. But I'm coming to you now because I know that you work now currently with West Care.
Yes.
And you've been working with West Care in the capacity of preventing violence prevention or substance abuse initiative to empower our young people. So tell us about that. What's the premise? What's the mission behind it?
So the mission behind it is actually pretty simple. Is that we believe, number one, that young people have the solutions themselves. We need to develop spaces where they have agency, where they make these decisions, are able to talk freely and safely about what they need. And then the third piece is that it's our responsibility as the adults in the community to create those opportunities, right? I've shared this on many shows before, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's important. Everybody messes up that African proverb that we love, right? It takes a village to raise a child. That is not the whole proverb. That's only the first half, right? The second half says, when the child is not embraced by the village, the child will burn it down to feel its warmth, okay? So when the kids, when our young people, I'm not going to call them kids, we're working with young adults, when they get in trouble with her using drugs, fighting, they don't come to school, it's not them that's the issue. There's something wrong with the village. They're actually our thermometer that is taking our temperature. What can we do to embrace them, right? To hold this space for them. That's what we're looking at doing. Right?
So why are young people? I mean, we do know why because we talk to them about it and we allow them a forum to express themselves. I mean, we're non-judgmental.
Yes.
But we're discipline oriented, but we bring them into a forum where they can be themselves.
That's right.
Where they can have an opportunity to make some mistakes and not judge them for the mistakes. But we're also providing them with opportunities to make wise decisions, right?
Correct.
So what can we do, particularly as men? I'm really not necessarily denying the women today. God bless you. We love you so very much. But we really want to encourage more men who are fathers. And if you're not a father, we want to encourage more men to be more actively involved in rearing our children, to bringing back some of the norms or some of the values that we were reared in our community, where the whole community were concerned.
Yes.
And that's what you were saying in regard to the proverb. It is really important that men in the community assume their leadership roles, if you will, in that community.
Boom.
To make sure that community is safe.
That's right, right. It's funny, we were talking about this before we got on the show. We were talking about how, for some reason, we have this philosophy in the United States that's taken root that talks about being individualistic, right? That we got to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps, that we'll got to figure it out.
We don't need no help.
Right, we don't need no help, right? That's not what a man does, right? I remember even my dad told me when he came back from Vietnam when I was in fourth grade, he says, act like a man. I mean, I'm 9 years old. I didn't know what that meant. What I heard was don't cry anymore, right? So it was a sort of distorted view of manhood. But now as I've got older, I started figuring out, the man behind the curtain really we need to let out is how do we cooperate and help each other as men, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we lift each other up? Even if we make mistakes, we're going to lift each other up. One of the things that the Reverend and I really strongly believe in is like if somebody were to get in trouble, they're never as bad as their worst behavior, and we've got to give them opportunities. That's a side of WestCare that I'm overseeing now too, is when people come out of jail, come out of the criminal justice system, let's lift them up, resources, everybody needs a safe place to stay, need some kind of treatment if they need to deal with anger or whatever, and a stable job and a loving environment, right? So how do we lift each other up, right? And we have to model that for our young people because they're looking at us, they're studying us, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're sending the message that it's all about domination and competition, well, they'll do that too, and they'll hurt each other on the streets, right? So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for a second because I think as fathers we need to see ourselves as being part of a whole community as opposed to just our own family.
Right.
Instead of just looking out for number one, we're actually part of a fabric of a community, and it's a special responsibility.
Well, young people, most, I've engaged a few folks, and most of them are saying that the young people, they're apprehensive or they don't want to communicate, that they have this phobia about sharing what they're going through or why they're going through it or what they may be experiencing. I disagree.
Couldn't be further from the truth.
I believe young people are communicating. They're communicating extremely loud in my mind. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, so what can we do to encourage more people to be a little bit more receptive and to allow young people to come into their circles without being judgmental, but to come into their circles to express what they may be going through. Right. If a young person is saying that they are feeling some kind of way, they're communicating.
Right. Tell me more.
I think that's an opportunity for you to take that as an opportunity to build that trust, if you will.
Yes.
And allow that person to be to know that you're listening. Do that make sense to you?
Totally.
So what can we do?
I think the first thing, and you nailed it right away, is how do we set up situations where we're non-judgmental and we ask curious questions, right? Hold space for people, right? Let them know that we care, right? If there's one thing I've learned about young people throughout all these years I've been doing this work is they can sniff out somebody that's not authentic, that's just there just because they're being paid or whatever. You got to be down for the count, and they're going to know it. They're going to test you. They will test you, right? They're going to be angry and stuff. They're going to say, let's see, I'm going to push you away, right? And actually, if you hang in there and if you lean in to the anger, they'll open up every step of the day.
Now they're communicating.
Absolutely, and the anger is a communication.
Yeah, they're communicating.
Right? Yeah, it's like I'm not feeling at ease. Right?
But I think that and I think it's a good test because what they're trying to do in their own way with their limited resources and possibly understanding at that point, is trying to pick you to see if you're true to it.
Yes.
If you're just here for the purpose of just being here for the pay, or if you're here to really empower young people.
Right.
And you'd be surprised how many of them, you're absolutely right, they're going to try you. So how do you engage young people? How do you flip that script to let young people know that I'm here for you?
Yeah, well, the first thing you got to do is undo negative expectations, right? They think you're coming in with an agenda, and you're going to have to wait and be patient, right? My old boss, Brian McKenna, used to say, you have to wait for permission to proceed, right? Permission meaning that when they start asking you questions like, why are you here? Why are you doing that? Then you can do it, but you have to leave. So the first thing is get connected with them, right? Make sure they know that you care. I think an important thing that gets missed a lot of the time from adults is, and this is normal. You shouldn't beat yourself up, parents, if you do that. A young person gets angry, you're going to get angry back because as humans we have mirror neurons, right? We're going to be like, but what we have to do is we have to just lean in and just wait. Don't go away. Don't give up. That's what the young person telling us. You're going to love this. We talked outside about mentorship, right? About how do you become a mentor. A lot of people have it backwards in the United States. They think that we assign a mentor to somebody, but the Reverend just said something wise a while ago. They're going to choose you if you're worthy, right? The story of mentor is interesting. It came from an old story, right, from the Odyssey, right? There was actually a character in the book named Mentor, and Mentor was an interesting guy. He could talk really well, and this man Odysseus had a son, or Odysseus. I'm not sure how to say the name. I can't pronounce some of these names, but his son Telemachus went to Mentor because Mentor had this gift that he wanted. He wanted to be able to talk, and they fought. Mentor would say stuff to Telemachus. Hey man, you don't know how to talk that well. But Telemachus kept on and on and on. Finally, he gave this big speech against the war because he missed his father so bad. And everybody cheered for him. You did a great job. But the war continued. And he thought he was a failure. But Mentor was there to guide him and say, no, you weren't a failure, my son. You found your voice. So we need adults that are going to hang around enough where the young people will choose you if you've got that thing that they want, and then you can help them along, whether it's helping them find a job, whether it's helping them deal with a relationship with their parents, or even girlfriend-boyfriend problems, right? They don't have the answers, but just a safe space for them to chop it up with you so that they can kind of sort these stuff out, right?
So talk to me.
I hope
What
that
do you
makes
think?
sense.
It makes a lot of sense to me. What do you think are some of the issues that are impacting the positive development of our young people in the city of Chicago? What are some of the issues, social issues, if you will, that are negatively impacting the positive?
Yeah, I think systemic.
Development.
I think systemic poverty is huge.
Okay.
We got to give people spaces where they can actually thrive, right? I mean, we bring snacks to our group. These kids just devour them, right? And and I don't like that. I'd rather have like healthy food and stuff, but it is what it is, right? So that's a huge thing. That's a huge factor. Setting up safe spaces where they can have recreation in places where they don't have to worry that they're going to get hurt, right? Because we know that there's violence out there. The kids tell me all the time, there's certain neighborhoods I can't go through.
Right.
Why is that? Well, that's on us. That's not on them, right? So how can we do that? And then, of course, the other thing is, how do we set up schools with imagination where people can actually discover their gifts,
Right.
And be able to express them, right? It's not just about basketball, right? We want to work on all 4 areas of their lives, right? How do we help them emotionally, physically, spiritually, and intellectually, right? But we have to be creative and use our imaginations to engage them, right? Because they're going to know, right? If you're an adult that isn't working on your 4 areas, they're going to spot that and they're going to go away to a different spot. Why should I be like you? Like, man, you what's the word they use these days? And in my day, we would say you're bogus, right? These days, it'd be, I don't know, is it you're lame or whatever? But
Yeah, they have so many slogans.
it's so many, but
but we know what you mean.
Yeah. The point I'm trying to say is that we have to not just see them as things, but in fact, very intelligent human beings that we need to hold space for so their gifts can come out, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Now, so I have a thought. My thought for the state of young people is that the young people are yearning.
Right.
They are involving. They are seeking.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to be a part.
Yeah.
And they're just looking to find that proper environment, if you will, that they can be young people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fed up with chasing the rainbow. They're looking for some stability.
Yes.
If a young person is interested in joining some of the activities that's going on in some of the alternative schools or in some of the agencies, how can they get in touch with?
I think
with
they can call us at 312-568-7051 and then Fathers Who Care number.
773-287-5821, or you can log into fatherswhocare.org. Give us a call, again, 773-287-5821.
Yep.
And what was that number?
312-568-7051, or you can even email me at carlos.rodriguez@westcare.com. I answer all calls and all emails.
So what we're trying to do today is we're trying to let you know that all is well. We know that you're experiencing some different challenges in life. We know different things are going on in the country, but we also know that together we will rise. Together we stand, divided we fall. And together we can make a difference. So we love you. God bless you. Keep up the good work. Keep hope alive. Keep praying. Keep trusting, and know that all things can and will work together for the good. Listen, hang on in there. Hang on in there. Hang on in there. All right? Don't break you, will make you. All right? We'll see you on the other side. Good night. God bless. And love someone. Share some love in your home.
Have a good